Welcome to Tuesday Tales, nightly news feature. Only it's not nightly. It's sporadically whenever I have a chance and should get a shower because I need to wash my hair. Take a deep breath. Have a slug of ketchup. So tonight on Tales, we were going to have an attorney talking to us about the Individual with Disability Education Act. That is one piece of news we're discussing tonight. We're talking about Hilaria Baldwin. We are talking about some Montana, some Putin, some politics, some Will Smith. But anyway, the attorney was going to be on, and then I emailed her, and she said, I thought we were going on at 5. I was like, no, we're not going on at 5 because Adrian can't do anything at 5 p.m. That is hell in a handbasket at my house. At 5, I was running late to a wrestling awards ceremony with Amos with no shoes on. So anyway, it's 8 o'clock. I have fed people takeout food. I have watched the news. I have signed some sheet for my daughter about sex education. And this is just funny. So sex education is sort of let's just start with that. It's sort of a mixed bag, right? Like in one way, you're like, my 6th grader is not having sex. I'm not even being dumb. They're not having sex. They don't even like boys, nothing. But then you realize it needs to be taught, la, 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 la. So I sign that she can be taught. But here's what it says. 6th grade, you're taught abstinence. And there's something in there called sexual harassment and bullying. I think they meant bullying, but they spelled it bullying. It's like, what is bullying? That sounds terrible. The awards were good. The award ceremony was good. So 6th grade is abstinence. 7th grade is sexual disease. Hold on. Nobody can ever hear me. I'm trying to yell. And then 8th grade is birth control. Shouldn't we have birth control before sexual disease? I don't teach sex education. That's, I'm just saying it. But anyway, that leads into my next conversation about Hilaria Baldwin. So Hilaria Baldwin is pregnant, expecting her 7th child. I think that's wonderful. People can have all the children they want. They're not, it's not me having the children. I'm too old to have children. But it's wonderful when other people have children. Now, her husband is the one that got in the whole gun went off, killed a woman on set. But Hilaria Baldwin is separate from that. That obviously is not funny. Hilaria Baldwin is hilarious because she has 6 children right now. Her last 2 were 3 months apart. So her 6th child was a little girl who they had via surrogate when she was pregnant with her 5th child, who was a son. So they implanted a surrogate with a female embryo because she had promised her older daughter that she could have a sister. Does that seem like a good idea? Am I judging? I might be judging. Like, seriously? 3 months apart? And then she goes through this thing. So she had a miscarriage. I had a miscarriage. I was pregnant with triplets before little Thomas. Yes, spontaneous insanity triplets whose hearts never stopped beating. They were just 3 tiny little sacs. And she had a miscarriage at like 6 weeks and was like, we're mourning the loss of our child. When you lose a child, having a miscarriage at 6 weeks ain't losing any child. And I don't mean it might not be in your mind. It's really hard. But losing a child is when Adrian's big brother, who was 19, died of cancer. That's losing a child. 6-week miscarriage is not. So I can say that because I've been in both places. So maybe you feel differently. That's fine. So anyway, Hilaria Baldwin is pregnant. And she said today, we had a huge, big surprise. We're having a baby. Okay, when you are pregnant for the 7th time, it's no longer a surprise. Surprise, here's what a surprise is. A surprise is like my neighbor growing up. They had 3 boys. She had had her tubes tied, thought she had a tumor in her abdomen when she was my age, 46 or 47, and was pregnant. That is a surprise, right? That's a surprise. A surprise is not 7th pregnancy. Oh, I don't know how that happened. No. My tubes have been burnt up to a crisp. If I were pregnant, it would be a shock, not a surprise. A shock. Shock. The other thing about, yes, Deborah, exactly. Or yes, at 20 weeks, yes, totally different stories. I don't care if they keep having kids. It doesn't affect me. I used to work with this guy that was like really into not overpopulating the earth. And I would always say, well, if you're not going to have your 2, I'll take your 2 and I'll have 4. He was like, no. You have something on your shirt. No. You know what it is? It's spicy taco sauce from Waterman's, one of my very favorite restaurants. And they have... Your battery is low? Yeah. Okay, well, plug it in. His battery is low. Can you stop?
Stop chasing them.
Stop chasing. So, this is Dip from Waterman's, a great restaurant here. Just happened to be on my shirt. Okay, y'all, I'm on a video. Okay, go plug in your iPad. Please leave him alone. I have told you. I'm going to start talking about that piece of paper you got home from school. You want me to talk about it? Come in here and talk about it with me. Let's talk about that sheet that came home. Why Hilaria Baldwin? That stuff was so spicy.
You already talked about it. I heard you first. The loudest person in the world. And I told you not to.
Well, it wasn't about you. He wants you to chase him. Hilaria Baldwin, why I think she's so funny is miscarriage at 6 weeks is a child. If the mom knows she's pregnant, it can be devastating. 1 in 4 women have a miscarriage. Yes, it is devastating, but it is not the same as losing a 3-year-old or a 19-year-old. It is not the same. It's not. I absolutely refuse to believe that. It is not the same. It's not. My own mother had a miscarriage and lost my brother. She will tell you the loss of a miscarriage and the loss of my brother were very different things. So I feel absolutely adamant against that discussion. Okay, you two are driving me crazy. I'm not here to fight. Honor, stop. Why I think Hilaria Baldwin is funny is because she pretended that she was from Spain. So she grew up in Boston, went to a private school, and somewhere along the way, she would spend some summers in Spain. And she said that she was on the cover of Hola, Hello magazine. Oh my God, y'all quit it, seriously. And, okay, now the dog. Okay, y'all stop. I'm not kidding, stop. She was on the cover of this Hello magazine or Hola magazine or whatever. And I'll lock myself in here. Get these people out. Y'all get out. My office. And she's on the Today Show. And she said she was cooking on the Today Show. Now, meanwhile, her husband said, well, my wife is from Spain. No, her not from Spain. And she said, she's cooking on the Today Show. And she's doing like this. And then you have the tomatoes, and you have the, how you say it in English? Oh, cucumber. She's from Boston. I have this good friend, Natasha Del Toro, and I asked her. She speaks fluent Spanish. Her mother taught her fluent Spanish. And I said, do you ever get words mixed up? And she was like, no, I don't. So that's Hilaria Baldwin. I've got a whole list here. We like listening to Amos giggle. Well, I'm glad y'all do. Now, let's see. We've got Chris Rock and Will Smith. This might be old news to y'all, but yes, that's what this is around here, Megan. This might be old news. Will Smith apologized today to Chris Rock for smacking him in the face during the awards ceremony. And I told my subscribers earlier, I was like, I don't know why the whole thing tickles me. It just seems so insane to me. Like, that's balls to the wall to get up on a stage on television and do that. It's pretty darn ballsy, right? But he's apologized. Whoopi says he's in trouble. His own mother was like, I've never seen him act like that. And then I was like, holy cow. What if he's having some like brain something? Yes, Chris Rock was making a joke. We don't think he knew that Will Smith's wife had alopecia. I love this news hour. That's because you're like me and scatterbrained. Will Smith was laughing at the joke, and then he looks over at his wife, and she's not laughing, and then he gets up and gives him a smack. Now, a video came out today where Will Smith is making fun on the Arsenio Hall show of a bass player who he says, we know what you do every night. You wax your bald head. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? So anyway, I wouldn't have gotten up and slapped anybody during an award ceremony. Not for that, at least. I mean, I had a physician, again, I'm not saying that people that have children with special needs don't, I'm not saying that we're more skilled than most people, but we are. I had a full-on anesthesiologist say to me at 5 a.m. before Amos was about to have surgery at Duke. So is he retarded? Now, if there was a time to slap someone, that would have been it. And I know slap. No, I know slap. So anyway, just keep your hands to yourself. That's all you need to do. Keep your hands to yourself. And this was funny. So when I said to Blair, Hilaria Baldwin's having this 7th baby, and look, she's made this Instagram video and it's just full of babies. Like, it just looks like a daycare center. And I said, look, she said her siblings the children are so excited. The one looks like this. I said, would you be excited? She said, no. I wrote this down. She said, I would move to an orphanage and say, I'm done with you people. Oh, God, I thought that was real funny. I'm done with you people. That's what I want to say to people on a daily basis. Will Smith, I'm done with you people. Hilaria Baldwin, I'm done with you people. Let's see, what else we got? We got Trump's call log. This is interesting. I love to talk politics because this gets people all in a dither. But we're going to hit politics when we talk about Montana, which is last. Trump's call log, there's 7 hours missing from the day of the insurrection. There's this gap in records. And evidently he had a private cell phone that he would use. So clearly he was using that cell phone then. And we don't know what he was talking about. And then we had Biden. Biden signed the Emmett Till anti-lynch law today, which was wonderful. Did you know over 4,000 people have died from being lynched? So Blair didn't even know what lynching was. So we talked about this with Emmett Till, who was 14, my son Russell's age. I mean, that's pretty darn terrible. the bill had come up 200 times and finally got signed into law today. So I thought that was pretty cool of Joe Biden. Now, the negative thing about Joe Biden is that when he's talking about Ukraine, I totally do not feel confident in his ability. I feel like he is like, yeah, and then like he doesn't move his mouth enough. It makes me nervous. I know, and then y'all are going to be like, "Would you want Trump to be president?" No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying I like somebody to, like George Bush, just be strong, or Obama. But Biden is not making me feel confident. Just going to put that out there. Now, Putin says he is moving on. Putin is going to be moving on from Kyiv to another area. Now, if you were causing a war, would you tell everybody what you were doing? I don't think so. Meanwhile, Putin evidently poisoned Roman Abramovich. I do have a little dyslexia. Seriously, I do. Abramovich, who was doing these talks with Ukraine, and he got poisoned. I wouldn't go trusting anything Kamutin says. That's all I have to say. What else? What else do we have? Let's see what's on this back of this sheet of paper. Oh, that's next. And before we hit Montana, we have this. So we have tomorrow. I need you people to do me a favor. And if you live where I do, it's going to be a bit of a problem. So I'm going to have my mother stop and do this for me on her way to see me. 100% of the sales tomorrow from Jersey Mike's go to the June 5th through 12th Special Olympics, which is being held in Orlando. Every 4 years. This is a big deal. Jersey Mike's, which has really good subs, FYI, they are giving 100% of their profits. Every penny that comes in tomorrow will go to the Special Olympics in Orlando. Amos is part of the Special Olympics. We love the Special Olympics. It has been the most wonderful experience for Amos and for our family. And it's just really something. So if you're around and you're anywhere near Jersey Mike's, please go, because it's rare that you don't get more than like, well, we're going to give 10%. Or, you go to the grocery store and they're like, do you want to give $1 to, Miracle Network? And I'm like, well, are you giving $1 to the grocery store? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, no, you give $1 and I'll give $1. Like, you have to have some skin in this game. So Jersey Mike's clearly has a lot of skin in the game. So just a shout out to Jersey Mike's. And also a shout out, and this is going to lead into our next conversation, with Cat Country. Cat Country is a radio station in Billings, Montana. Cat Country might be, I have a couple new heroes in Billings, actually a few. Cat Country is one of them. So my friend Emily and her mother Jana, Emily has Down syndrome. She's a junior in high school at Billings West. And the school system said, you know what, Emily, you're not going to be here for your senior year. You're turning 19 in July, and that's too old. How do you register an athlete for the Special Olympics? Well, we get a form home from school. So I don't know how everybody else does it, but we get a form home from school where we register Amos. So anyway, now, if you start getting my brain all mixed up, that'll confuse me. I know Blair said, do I go to the Special Olympics? I have anxiety. I was like, no, you don't. Quit trying to fake a disability. No. Is it only the Jersey Mike's in Orlando? No, Laura. It is every Jersey Mike's in the entire country. 100% of the profits in every Jersey Mike's you can go to. So nope, it's every Jersey Mike's. Now, do y'all think if it really won Jersey Mike's, I would be giving them this big shout out? The Jersey Mike's in Coleraine is giving their 100. So no, it's all the frickin' Jersey Mike's. Would that be like $200 they'd give? Okay, now, I was not making fun of Biden having a stutter. I didn't even know he had a stutter. I'm talking about him just being like this. We're not going to do this. Because I want somebody strong. But carry on. I know you people are going to go crazy when I say anything about Biden, if you love Biden or hate Trump. And if I say anything about Trump that might be good and you hate him. And this is the problem with America. You have to be willing to look behind political buttons on people's shirts and say, who is behaving well, right? And what are they doing? So I'll tell you why I say this. So in Montana, we have Emily and her mother, Jana. Emily has Down syndrome. The school district has told Emily that they are unable to give her an exception to have her senior year at school. Well, interestingly enough, there is a man, and his name is Fred. Is it Fred Anderson? I hope I don't get it wrong. That would be embarrassing. Where is it? Let me see if I wrote it down. He was in charge of House Bill 233. So that happened about a year ago. And, Cat Country, okay. House Bill 233, which passed in Montana last year. And what it says is, yes, so let's just go back a minute. IDEA, which is the Individual Disabilities Education Act. It at first was called the Act for Handicapped Children, and they switched it in 1991 to be, sound better. So this act says, and I'm going to read it to you because there's a lot of confusion over this, and I'm spending a lot of time trying to correct people, and I'm tired of it, but I don't want people to be confused. So if you're struggling to understand what IDEA is, this is your chance to listen. IDEA: free and appropriate education to all children with disabilities residing in the states between the ages of 3 and 21. So most people know this, and this is what they cling on to. Before this week, this is what I knew as IDEA. So I thought that meant if you're between the ages of 3 and 21, you get a free and appropriate education, right? IDEA is national. Yes, it is, Rachel. It's national. It's federal. Janice just said it's 22, not 19. Janice, okay, let's go over this. I want you to listen. The law says ages 3 to 21. Now, Texas serves children to age 27. Georgia serves children to age 20. North Carolina serves children to age 21. So there's a little bit of sway. Jan just said Alabama 21. So what we're going to talk about right now is the important part. And I have this good friend. She works for this General Assembly in Georgia. She's an attorney. And she called me this morning and she was like, Montana's breaking the law with this idea. And I was like, they're not. She was like, yes, they are. I mean, I know this. This is what I do. I was like, they're not. And let me tell you why. So then I read her this part of the law. This is in the actual law. So we hear that. Free and appropriate education, all children with disabilities residing in the states between ages 3 to 21. Okay? Part B, there's a limitation, right? Obligation to offer a free and appropriate public education does not apply to, okay, you ready? Ages 3 to 5 or 18 to 21. When application to those children would be inconsistent with state law. So you do not have to offer a free and appropriate public education to children ages 3 to 5 or 18 to 21 when it would be inconsistent with a state's law. What that means is the state law exception was written into the federal code. Okay? Obligation to provide the education does not apply to children ages 3 to 5 or 18 to 21 when the application to those children is inconsistent with the individual state's law. So in Montana, you turn 19, you're out. So does that mean, true or false, Montana has to offer a free and appropriate education to children that are 20 and 21 in Montana? No, they do not. They do not have to. Because, why? Because it's inconsistent with the state law. The state law exception is written into the federal code. Why is it there? Wonderful question, Heather. I'm not quite sure, but here's what I think. I think it's because when it was written, you have to understand, children with disabilities weren't allowed to put one toe into the school system, right? So the caveat was ages 6 to 17, you got to do that no matter what. You're 6 years old, you're 17, your ass has a place in public school. So you have public schools who had been like, door's locked for you, Amos. No Seeley, no people, no Emily, you no come in. Well, suddenly the door opens. It opens from ages 6 to 17. Now, most states it opens 3 to 21, but some states it doesn't. Now, in my district, age 3 education means, I think Amos went maybe 2 or 3 mornings a week for 3 hours, but if he lived in Florida, he would have gone from 8 to 5 every day, right? Did everybody hear that? Please, we need to get the word out about that because that is really important. Now, Pamela, you're going into the next comment. So, House Bill, most recent House Bill in Montana said the state of Montana will pay for education ages 19 through 21 for exceptions. Exceptions would be children with disabilities, established disabilities, who need another year or 2 or 3 of education, right? I give you Emily Pennington. So I speak to Fred today, the author of the bill in Minnesota. Minnesota is like a combo of Montana and Minnesota, of Montana. And he says to me, did I write it down? I don't even have the exact quote. He says to me, this bill was designed for Emily. It is a win-win. It's a win for Emily and it's a win for the district. We will fully fund the district. There's 2 pots of money, A and B. We will fully fund the district with the money to have Emily so Emily can continue her education and graduate with her class. It's a done deal. And I said, well, one thing that they are really enjoying saying in the district is, well, what happens if the money goes away? He said, well, first off, that's the weakest excuse I've ever heard in my life. And he said, second off, it's a law. The money will be there forever as long as the school system does their job. Ding, 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 ding. So the money's not going away. You're going to get the money. So today I put the post up with all the school board members and their pictures so that you all can, if you live in Billings, you see them at the grocery store or the gas station, ask questions.
Can you braid my hair tomorrow morning before
I might, but I'm not talking about it right now. I'm on a video. But it's like I'm David Muir. Go out. Okay. You're messing up my broadcast. If you could help,
I want you to do the one that you braided my hair.
Okay, well, shh.
Good night. Love you.
Love you. I'm David Muir. I could be David Muir if I had my hair up high. Please know this is not the whole Montana story. They are known plenty to barely support children with additional needs, barely any opportunity. Oh, well, that's exhausting. I can't get into all that today because I'm tired. I kind of feel like the superintendent will allow Emily to graduate. So I don't know, Rachel. He did a live video today. I was going to play it for y'all, and then I've seen it like 10 times. And he's like, there's a lot of angst. And I was like, this is not angst. This is advocacy. And kind of trying to hint around that maybe there were rumors like, we're not saying she can't graduate. Well, you're saying she can't have her 4th year in high school. Do you know how many juniors in high school, like if I went to my son, or can you imagine a daughter saying, you know what? It's no big deal. you're going to graduate, but you're not going to have your senior year. Just the idea of it is misogynistic the right word? It's like saying somebody that has a disability, they don't know any different. I mean, that's how it feels to me. What does Emily know about having a senior year? Emily plays basketball. Emily is a cheerleader. Emily went to prom. Emily is actually a human being that also has Down syndrome. It doesn't mean that Emily can be placated with, here's your graduation diploma, but we won't see you next year. And when I talked to Emily last night, yes, I did. I talked to her mother earlier today. I sure did. Did she sign the IP? I don't think so. Degrading. Thank you, Sandy. It's degrading. It's degrading. You know, Rachel, I'm glad you're giving the superintendent a reasonable doubt. I'm less likely to give him kudos because I know that Emily's mother had been emailing him for months and he never responded. I personally prefer when people respond before there's a ton of pressure on them. If Valerie texts me or emails me tonight, I'm going to answer her. Not because she's important or not because I'm pushed under pressure, but because it's the right thing to do. And at that school board meeting, I don't know if you heard this last night, but at the school board meeting, you have Emily Pennington and her mother, and they sit in this meeting for 2.5 hours and wait for their 3 minutes. They get up and stand. She's supposed to go to Billings West. They get up and stand and speak and say, you know, Emily really wants a chance to have her senior year with her friends, and the meeting ends right after. Do you know how many board members went up to Emily and spoke, or the superintendent, or anyone for that matter, with the school system? This many. 0. So you have a mother and a student that come and sit for 2.5 hours and ask to be on the agenda to have a chance to have their senior year. And not one of those freaking school board members could take a second and say, Emily, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. You know what I call that? It's called bad manners. And if there's one thing I hate, it's bad manners. And I might have them, but I hate them. Bad manners. Not one freaking person. They just rode off into the sunset like dead Lego horses. So, are they going to perk up now? Will the school board members probably start reaching out to her now? Yeah, I think so. And should we be thankful that they are? Yes, we should be. We're not writing people off. We're not, canceling someone because they made a poor decision. Is this a chance for them to learn better? Yes, it is. So you can forgive, but that doesn't mean you have to forget. And I think you need to be smart and aware of what people are doing, and are they doing the right thing when no one's looking? And I think generally people are. I know my school district is, for the most part. But I mean, I really mean that. I think general school districts are. New Hanover County in North Carolina really struggles. Berkeley County in West Virginia has had a little bit of struggle. I'm still being sued over there. In this Billings, Montana, another legislator said to me, I said, I don't understand the problem with Billings. And he said, well, it's kind of like a fraternity and a sorority house over there. You've got the good old boys and the good old girls that have been there a long time, and they get to do what they want. And that was a legislator who was pretty intimate and knowledgeable about Billings of people on the school board. So I hope that's not true. Yes, so Cat Country is the radio station there. So Emily's friends at school started a petition, just a paper petition. Sign your name if you want Emily to be able to stay at school. So they sign it. Several hundred people sign it. Well, the assistant principal, Dr. I can't remember. Evidently, they really like being called Doctor something at West. They take the petition and take it away. And yesterday, the principal called, and the principal is nice at Billings West, and said, if you'd like to come get this petition, you can, to her mother, which is why I started a petition yesterday. Not really me starting it, but I was starting it for the students that got their petition taken away. And that's a whole nother, legal fiasco. And as of tonight, I think we have almost 20,000 signatures. And I will say a petition doesn't really do much, but they do make the news. So if we get 100,000 signatures on that petition, I bet we could get David Muir to talk about it. Instead of me just pretending to be David Muir, you could actually hear David Muir talking about Emily Pennington. So you share this post. Keep it up. My subscribers have been awesome. I shared some extra deets with them that I wouldn't be allowed to share elsewhere because it's called doxing. And I've gotten smart enough about not getting sued that I don't dox. Okay, so cat country. I have ADD. I legit do, I think. Or my husband has it so severely and doesn't take his medicine that I feel like I'm getting it. So Cat Country said, when they heard about the students that got their, petition ripped away by the vice principal, they said it would be disruptive to do that at school. Oh, I don't know. Hello, democracy. What are you like? Do we live in North Korea? Billings, North Korea. They say, anyone that will put a sign up to support Emily, like on their marquee, or, you have a sign up front, like you might have a sign in McDonald's or a church or a dentist office. I'm just thinking of anywhere like this. This is in Billings, Montana, David. Any business, Cat Country says, that puts a sign up for Emily, they'll get a free commercial on our radio show. A free commercial. And so Emily has been so excited. She's like, they're riding around seeing the signs in town. Or not a commercial. Not a commercial. They'll give them a shout out like, thanks to Waterman's Restaurant in Edenton, North Carolina for giving, Emily a shout out or whatever. I think Adrian is going to do that too. Not that I'm as important as Cat Country, but tomorrow morning at 8:30, after I have driven people to school, I am going to call into the radio station, and they, I hope they answer the phone, Cat Country. And I just want to give them like high five, fist bump. You're awesome. May I sign? I'm Canadian. If you are a human being or a dog with good handwriting, you can sign. Yes, you can sign. I have put it up several times. It's in my latest written post. My subscribers have it. Please share it. It's awesome. David is on TV right now. Oh, I already watched him earlier today. I sort of plagiarized David to get some of my nightly news. It's true. It's true. I did. So what's going to happen? I don't know. We're going to sign the petition. We are not going to stop. I think there is going to be, if I had to guess, a special board meeting later this week to discuss this, to change the policy. And I think it's going to happen. I have a really good feeling about it. One thing the superintendent kept talking about was, this is part of a nativity set that somehow ended up in my office from Christmas, because that's what we do around here. This is about Emily, but all of them should be able to go. All the students with disabilities or the ones that have been held back a year and now are about to age out. So the state law in Montana, Leslie, the House Bill 233, right, the latest one, the House bill is specifically for children with disabilities. It is not about children that were affected by COVID. That is a different issue, and that is not a battle I'm going to fight. I'm not saying it's not worth it to fight, but I'm not fighting that battle because we can't all do everything. The same reason I'm not saving dogs and kennels in people's backyards in Kansas. And Kansas doesn't do that to dogs. I know. I'm just Kentucky then. Florida, New Hampshire, wherever. So yes, and the superintendent kept saying today, you know, this has big ripple effects. And he was saying it, to me, it felt negative instead of like, this is awesome. We have a chance to make history here. We can be the first school district in Montana that says, you know what? We want to serve children. We want to do that. We want to serve children with disabilities. This will affect other people. It certainly will. And it should. And it should. So it's not just about Emily. And I think if anybody knows that, it's Emily's family, you know, because it's important. It's important. And if you don't think it's important, just close your eyes and think of your own children, or if you don't have children, maybe you have a niece or a nephew, or maybe you have a cute little neighbor like I have, who's also my godson, and you just think about him, and you think about telling him, you're not going to go to school anymore because you're too old. And he says, what? I was supposed to be in first grade next year. And you say, well, no, we're just going to end it here for you. You know? And again, just this whole, well, you get to graduate but not have your senior year, just feels a little bit like, listen, little girl, you don't even know what you're missing. Let's just tell her that. Let's appease her with that. Like saying to your children, well, we're not going to get ice cream, but when we go home, we'll use the mint toothpaste. It's going to be really nice. No, you ain't fooling nobody with that. Ask Amos. He'll be like, no toothpaste. So anyway, so thanks y'all for listening. Oh, the last bit of news. This is very interesting and strange. Frederick Woods was paroled. Do you know who that is? He is the man who, with two other people in 1976, kidnapped 26 children and put a school bus in a legit bunker underground. Do you remember this happening? Because they planned it for a year, and they wanted to get a $5 million ransom. And the bus driver and the children crawled out and got away. Well, the other two people have been out of jail, but this final one got out of jail. And a few people on the bus were like, it's time for him to get out of jail. It's been 40 years. And then the other people were like, no, he's out. He's a millionaire. And we got enough money for like 2 therapy sessions. It was horrific. That's David's last news. I don't think you're supposed to end on something like that. I think you're supposed to end on something good. Okay, so for the last people that are wondering, the Individual with Disability Education Act, free and appropriate education to all children between the ages of 3 and 21. But there is a caveat. There is a limitation. The obligation to provide a free and appropriate public education does not apply to 3 to 5-year-olds or 18 to 20-year-olds when the application to those children is inconsistent with state law. Now, what I didn't say is Montana state law now says we can serve children 18 to 21, and we have funding. They do not make people do that, but they do have funding. And the sponsor of the bill said, you know, this was meant for Emily, but if their mother doesn't get far, you hate to tell somebody to do it, there is legal action, because district policy does not trump state law. And I don't think anybody wants to take legal action, but when attorneys start calling you from New York and say you have a case and you're in Montana, I hope the people in Montana wake up and say, is this really a case that we want to pay for? And the family is probably going to get free representation, and then we're going to be splashed all over the newspapers, and then we're going to lose? No. The best thing to me that Billings can do is say, you know what? You were right. We didn't really understand how it works, and now we get it. This is free for us, and this is the best thing we can offer for children with disabilities in Billings. And we were really excited We are really excited to have you as students, and we'd just like to welcome you and welcome Emily for her senior year. That's my suggestion. But what do I know? Just a washed out debutante with 4 kids, one with autism, a husband in Guatemala, a pencil sharpener that's broken. Anyway, subscribers, see you a little later. We'll be having a chit chat about some things behind the scenes we learned about today. Yes, so Emily's IEP meeting today was exciting. Hopefully we'll be hearing from her mama about that. And hopefully we're going to have good news for Emily. And maybe we'll have a little board meeting or something this week. And then y'all are going to be like, what did you used to talk about? Nothing. She ain't talk about nothing. Nope. She's just over here signing sex ed papers for a 6th grader. Feeling older by the second. Goodbye. Call me Hilaria. I'm from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I don't know the word for cucumber or children. What is it? Niños? Oh, children. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, God, I got to go put people to bed. Goodbye.